Which shoe is better to hoop in? The Nike LeBron 19 or the Air Zoom GT Jump? Today we're putting these two shoe models head to head to see how they compare. But really quick, if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. So starting off with the box and the price, the LeBron 19s have a lot of details worked into this black box. This is like a Space Jam theme, so you are going to see some animations kind of worked in there. I do like how they made that LJ logo see-through as well. And then for the GT Jump, this is one of 3 models that released in that Nike greater than line. So they all had the same kind of like a similar box concept. So on this GT Jump, you're just going to get an arrow kind of pointing up. That's just going to signify the jump model. And then as for pricing, the LeBron 19s are going to be up there at $200 even. So that's going to be on the more expensive side. Sort of the same thing for the GT Jump model though. I mean, these are going to retail for $180. So both of these shoes will be a little bit pricey. So checking out the appearance on these and starting off with the colorways. Today we have the Nike LeBron 19 sweatsuit versus the Air Zoom GT Jump Own Space. So for this LeBron 19 sweatsuit colorway, it was actually the first one to hit the market, and it's part of like a Space Jam like collab or theme. The markings on the upper kind of show that, and you can see it a little bit better if you pull that top layer back. That just kind of leads to a map of the Nike World Headquarters and the Warner Brothers lot. So you know, as always, the details came out super nice. But now looking at the model a little bit more, they did build this shoe up just compared to the LeBron 18 design, and it does remind me of some more previous models from LeBron's line just compared to how last year's ones looked. But you're also going to have access to see those air units kind of through the side of the shoe. I like whenever they do that. And then you're also going to get a little bit, or a little bubble that kind of wraps around the heel, kind of runs along the back side of the shoe. So that's definitely not a bad touch. But now looking at the Air Zoom GT Jump, these are honestly pretty clean. Like Nike did hit on all 3 shoe heights within that greater than line. The cuts were a low top. The runs were more of like a mid-top design, and then the GT Jump is a little bit more of a high-top model, so that's kind of why I'm comparing them here today. It's a little more similar to the LeBron 19, but you know, just to touch on a few pieces that I did like, I'll get into more in a second. Like the GT Jump has a lot of what is being used to create them actually displayed on the shoe. They kind of like spell that out, so I do think it's pretty cool whenever shoes do that. And the tongue has a really cool like transparent or like reflective look to it, with the left shoe saying Own Space for the colorway name, and then the right tongue is going to have that like jump logo. And then the gap on the midsole, it has like the same kind of look to the Eclipse plate that's used in Air Jordan's line right now. Like I want to say at least the last 3 models have used those, like the 36, the 35, and the 34 have all kind of had that gap down there. So, I mean, 2 pretty clean looking shoes, but now let's go ahead and see how they hold up on the court. For the materials and the support, the LeBron 19 made a big shift from that knit posit design that they used on the LeBron 18s to what they're using on this shoe, and they added some nice pieces. So these are going to have a full-length inner sleeve that kind of conforms to your foot really well, and the laces actually kind of feed through that like outer piece or that overlay portion, and that really locks your foot into the design. It almost gives you like that feeling of a shoe within a shoe type fit. But Nike also added a transparent flywire cable to like the overlay that kind of extends up from the midsole, and you know, that's going to be another nice piece to really just add to the support being so much better on this shoe than last year's model. Like the LeBron 18 was just a tragedy just for the support, in my opinion. Like I rolled my ankle way too many times in those, but thanks to that flywire cable, the inner sleeve, and even a small outrigger to kind of brace your foot and provide some better balance, these took a major step forward in the support. I was definitely happy about that. And then now looking at the GT Jump, these are going to use a jump frame setup that's kind of labeled in that black portion of the shoe, which is going to be what keeps the entire cushioning setup under control. And then the upper is going to be made out of some jump wire material, which is actually marked out near the heel. And if you just kind of look around the shoe, you're going to notice that Nike spelled out a lot of what's being used within this design, just specifically on the shoe in some places. Like, you know, all those cushioning features that I just mentioned on that diagram, they're all going to be listed just on the bottom of the shoe on the outsole. So, you know, I thought that was pretty cool. But the wire setup is going to do a really good job of just keeping your foot within the shoe. And that was something I was initially a little bit concerned about because it hasn't really bothered me, but it did feel pretty thin. But the swoosh is also going to extend up a little bit. And that's going to help with some lateral containment just to add to it, just to give your ankle a little bit more of a secure feel. And the materials that were used on the GT Jump definitely placed more of an emphasis on keeping the shoe lighter just to play in and move around in, especially for a high top model that just has this much cushioning. Like they are only going to weigh 486 grams for a size 10.5, which isn't going to be as light as some other shoes, but it's definitely going to be lighter than the LeBron 19s, which weigh 594 grams for the same size. And I think that's actually the heaviest shoe that I've played in ever since I started tracking the weight, so I don't really love that aspect. So now zeroing in more on the performance side for these shoes and starting off with the cushioning, the LeBron 19s have a Cushlon foam midsole, which is meant to be softer and more responsive than Phylon, and these do have a really nice and springy feel. There's also a Zoom Air unit in the forefoot, or just like the front portion of the shoe, that's going to be paired with some thick Max Air units that you can actually see through the side of the shoe, like I mentioned, just through that midsole area. And then whenever you apply pressure anyways, whenever you compress the shoe and just apply some pressure, you can really see those units at work. Like, the impact protection is really nice on this model whenever you're landing from jumps or just making any type of movements. You know, I did kind of expect that because the cushioning in LeBron's line has been pretty nice for a while now. But switching it over to the GT Jump, these things are stuffed with some nice cushioning features as well. This diagram here does a good job of laying out everything that's being used within this cushioning setup. You're going to have that Zoom Air unit in the forefoot and in the heel. And then a P-Bax jump frame is going to be on top of that. And then you're going to get a full-length air strobel unit to go along with it. So, I mean, there just is a lot of cushioning features on this model as well. And, you know, each shoe in this greater than line kind of focused a different style of play, which I thought was pretty cool. And the primary focus on the GT Jump was just to be there for your vertical jumping and your impact protection. And you can go ahead and check both of those boxes. They did a good job there. These things are just pretty much spring-loaded, have really good responsiveness, and they're soft to land on, which is definitely nice. So to finish off with traction, LeBron's shoe line has struggled for the last several years in that category, maybe getting slightly better from year to year. That's pretty much what happened again here. Like, these do have a new traction pattern that's meant to resemble the LJ Crown logo, kind of condensed down, and it plays okay, but it doesn't give you a super sticky feel. I will say it is better than the LeBron 18s, I think, but not by a wide margin, or like wide enough margin to really impress me. Before the GT Jumps, that's an entirely different story. These are equipped with a traditional herringbone setup that is really nice. You're going to have those arrows running horizontally in the middle of the design to cover your front to back movements, and then it shifts to more of a vertical formation near the edges to cover more of your side to side cuts. So these are going to be pretty sticky too, and they played really nice on played really great on a nicer court, and then they still had some pretty solid grip on a dustier court that I normally film on. So I definitely did like that. But to finish off with sizing, these shoes pretty much line up about the same just across the board here. They're going to be perfect for the length, maybe a little bit narrow for the width, but still not too bad. So for the final ratings, and starting off with the appearance, both of these models do have a similar mold, and they're obviously going to be high tops, but you know, I really do like what Nike did on this GT line. They made all three models look really nice. You know, LeBron's, they just kind of look like an everyday LeBron to me, so I'm actually going to start off going with the GT Jump. But as for cushioning, I mean, this is a spot where LeBron's line is going to win whenever it goes up against most shoes, but you know, after that diagram I laid out, you know, the GT Jump just has a lot of cushioning benefits as well. Cushioning is one of the highlights on both of these shoes, so I'm going to keep that section as a tie. And then for the materials and the support, I'm actually going to lump these two sections together because that is going to be a tie for me here. I mean, the LeBron 19 did add some nice pieces like that inner sleeve and that flywire cable, which are going to be nice material touches and also directly help with the support. And the GT Jump, I mean, it doesn't cut the cost on the materials that they used either. And they had really nice containment as well. So that is going to lead me to the traction section for these shoes. And, you know, for the head, it's really not going to be that close. Like, the GT Jump is definitely better here. They have a more organized pattern, and it is noticeably stickier to the touch and just gives you a lot better grip on the floor as well. So that is going to lead to me going with the GT Jump as the better shoe to hoop in. I mean, this is one of the better high top models that's on the market right now. Like, I really love shoes that just don't really have a weakness, and with plenty of cushioning features, good support, nice materials, really sticky traction. I mean, what more do you honestly want? The LeBron 19 did improve from last year's model, especially for the support, but I mean, there are some things I'd like to see get a little bit better, mainly the traction, and then also trying to make this shoe a little bit lighter to play in, but still not a bad performance shoe at all. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you want to buy the Air Zoom GT Jump, just click the link on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio for both shoes, so feel free to check that out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.